My name's Jim Shaikh. I am the Managing Director now of Yoomi, and what we have done is invent a self-warming baby feeding bottle. Very simple idea is that we only heat the milk the baby drinks. The clever thing's inside the teat. You press the button, wait 30 seconds, turn it upside down. The milk that was in the cold milk from the fridge is in the back. By the time it goes around the thing that's warm in the front, it's at breast milk temperature and it stays there. It's getting warm, so it does work. And it stays there for about an hour. So it's not as a great invention as Michael's over there. But I was a father of a young baby, 3.5 pounds. He was premature. So when we got him home, my job was to get up at night and take the express breast milk out the fridge. And I wasn't very good at my job at the time. And I'd stumble down the stairs at 2 o'clock in the morning, and I would then habitually overheat the baby milk. So I'd put it in a pan of boiling water, fall asleep, put it under the tap, fall asleep, put it back again. All the while my baby's crying upstairs, and then my wife is crying at me upstairs as well. And she said to me, "You're an engineer," I'm an engineer background as well, and said, "Do something useful for a change, can't you fix this?" So that was a frustration. Then a week or two later, we finally took our little one out. I mean, he was tiny, and we went to a cafe to get our first cup of coffee outside of the home. And again, we couldn't get hot water to heat the bottle up with. Bought a cup of tea, put it in there, and the tea went everywhere. So there was a need, we thought then. And I just kept thinking, well, why can't you heat a bottle up? At the time, I was running a small engineering business, and what I basically did was put that as a fun problem within the engineering business. And left it there to percolate for about a year or so. And then one afternoon, we were having a team meeting, and we decided not to go back to work, sat in a cafe again, and on the back of an envelope came up with the concept of the self-warming bottle. Very simple. It's very much like your combi boiler. You only heat what you use. The clever bit was the substance we use inside. And all we've done is taken technology that exists already and repackage it. So the substance that we use inside here is a gel pack hand warmers. If you use those gel pack hand warmers, you click a metal disc and it gets warm. We use the same thing. We've made a couple of little inventions along the way, but really repackaging what we saw already and put it together in the bottle. What we wanted to do was create a self-warming baby bottle that warmed the feed to the natural temperature of breast milk. So take 5-degree milk and take it and bring it up to breast milk temperature for an hour. That's what we set ourselves the task to do, and that's what we've done. And this is the business proposition. But the next thought is it commercial? Can you make money from this product? On one side of the slide is bottles. They're bottles that parents buy, and you have to warm them up in some way. On the other side of the slide, the different ways of warming up baby's feed using those bottles. And what we've done is try to combine the two together. We launched in John Lewis November 2009, an exclusive, and now we're just entering Mothercare. We'll be entering Boots soon, and we're now going international. We're in Scandinavia, Greece, France, Italy. So, and this all started back in 2003, so it's taken us a good 6 years to get this far. Inspired by Mum, designed by Dad. Basically, this is it, really. And we've taken that line and we've tried to be slightly different in the market space as well. So, yes, get your product. Yes, find it's commercial. But also what we're trying to do is build a brand. Because brands are somewhat more valuable than individual products when you try to sell what you're doing. So that's another tip. So if you design one product, that's great. But really, if you want longevity, you need to develop a brand in the consumer space anyway. So what I'd like to do is maybe touch on a couple of bits and pieces that may be useful to you, or if I was sitting in your space about 5 or 6 years ago. So what I did was when I had my ideas, I came here because there's lots of free resources, and as an entrepreneur, you want to use as many free resources as you can. So I came here and did my market research here, I did my patent searches here, and I learned about patents, IP, and trademarks, and design rights. So I came here to understand the tools of my trade, really. Engineer by background, very technical, so I came here to learn the bits and pieces. Straight away, I'm not sure whether I'm different to the guys on the table or not, is I decided that I needed investment. I could not fund this on my own. I wanted to build a baby brand, I needed investment. I didn't have the wherewithal to do it myself. So straight away, I started on the path of how am I going to gain investment from other people. I didn't go to Dragon's Den, but I did something similar and raised investment from what's called angel investors. So if I backtrack a bit, so I realised that, and if you want to raise investment from somebody, you're saying to that person, give me some money, you give me your money, I'll give you a return back. So that's the basic proposition. And what they're looking for in general is between a 5 to 10 times return on their investment over a period of 3 to 5 years. So if you don't show them that picture, they're not going to give you your money. So you're already corralled into making or trying to start a very big business from the word go. And one of the key elements of that, when you've just got an idea, is a patent, because that gives them something in which an asset which they can hang their investment from. If you've got design, that's great, a nice picture, prototypes, but a patent has value. So I set out to file for a patent straight away. And once I filed for the patent for my idea, then I wrote a business plan and trod the boards to try to find some investment. I spent a year talking to VCs, private equity, venture capitalists and angel investment. It took me a year from sort of March 06 to basically about a year to gain the investment. £140,000, not a lot, but enough to get me going. And then I went through the phases of prototyping. Prototyping is expensive. And my advice is identify the need, why you need to prototype. We prototyped initially to prove to the investors that we had something that we could then develop further to get more money from them. So I had to spend the money on the prototype to get more money later on to take the prototype to the next level, if you see what I mean. And that's the way that I've grown my business. I didn't raise all the money in one chunk. I would go along to the investors and say, I'll raise X amount of money to do this. I then show a good track record by doing that, which means they believe in you, and then you can go back to ask for more money. Again, to do a certain set of tasks. You get it done, they'll give you more money. And in that way, you sort of bootstrap your way going through. So it was quite a difficult task to do what we wanted to do. And it did take us 3 or 4 different prototypes to get there. I have raised about £1.5 million in the process over the last 6 years, in chunks of 100 to 200,000. So it's quite a difficult task. And that was my task to go around and do that. And also you need a mechanism by which you can take the downsides, the low points. Whenever you file a patent, no one can see it for 18 months. So if I file a patent in January, I could think that I've got a good search and there's nothing else out there, but I haven't seen the last 18 months worth of filings. So when I filed, suddenly when a year later up popped a very similar idea. And the patent attorney said to me, that's it, it's gone. And I've spent a year or so and quite a lot of money investing in the product. But what you then do, it's a very bad Saturday morning when the letter dropped and I sort of sat down and drowned my sorrows a little bit. But on the Sunday, I got up and I read everything. And I read through everything. And basically, I said, I'm going to do this. And I worked my way around the patent. I changed the design to work a way around the patent that was there. And then it meant starting again, but we started again. And we came up with the design that we have here. Where we are now. We're now a rapidly growing business. So we launched, which is great. But we're now in the growing pains of growing a business, which has its own peculiarities. And you have problems occurring all the time. We manufacture in China. The first batch is great. The second batch is completely wrong. And you've lost 6 weeks of time in the meantime. So you have to find ways of dealing with that. But hopefully you get a good team of people around you who will help you overcome those issues. The other last point I'd like to make is, as an entrepreneur, you're very inward-looking, because you're focused on your task and what you're trying to do. And the other thing you've got to realise is there are competitors out there, and there will be a response. And that's one of the key things we've found in our market. We launched in a great range on this. We're sold out within 4 days. But within 4 months, our competitors responded by slashing their prices by about 60% in all our channels. So there's absolutely nothing you can do about that and see your sales drop. So one of the key things you've got to really understand is how flexible is your model? Can you withstand a very aggressive competitor response? So you're not in the bubble, and competitors will respond to your product once it's out there. I think that's it, really. Thanks.